Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Heavy Metal Irongol Championship. I am Karan, and I am joined here in the booth by my co-com today, Lucy. How are you doing, Lucy?
Good morning, Karan. I'm doing quite well on this lovely Thursday morning, 11 a.m., getting some Final Fantasy Randomizer action going. We got a fantastic match between our Duckling Supreme, currently Deadpulse, and the Irongol champion, Greg-Puff. Should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's both of these runners are fantastic runners of this game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to make of these interesting flags. So I will give you a moment, chat about the flags with our viewers, please, and then I will drop the gate on the runners and we will be underway.
Sure thing. So, looks pretty tame at first when you're taking a look at it. Randomized shops, RNG tables, basic stuff, surprise bonus, etc. Then you get down to the incentive locations and things get a little weird. So, main NPCs, fetch quest NPCs, fine, okay, that's good. But then we have all dungeons tri-state, Ice Cave, Ordeals, Marsh Cave, Titans, Earth, Volcano, Sea Shrine, and Sky. Are they incentivized? Are they not? I guess we'll find out together because we're not even sure. But Corneria Lock is guaranteed to be something, which is at least interesting, and maybe it'll be some kind of bonus for them. Also, that means we're going to have anywhere from 4 dud to 4 bad locations, depending 15 to 23 versus 19 items, so we don't know until we get there. No map shuffle, nothing going on there. Basic scaling's not too bad. Bosses won't be hitting too hard. We got 2 bonuses and 1 malice on the party as well.
In other words, it's going to be lots of fun. The runners themselves, I think, are going to be running around a bit because, as Luffy was saying, we don't know whether any of those dungeons are incentivized or not. Mm-hmm. All right, looks like we are underway. So going into Canaria, level 1, White Magic is PL2 was the first thing that jumped off the page there. And then, let's see, Fast and Quad X at level 1 Black Magic, so not bad to start.
No, definitely not. Quad X, quickly becoming one of my favorite spells in the game, and whenever I have a black belt and I see early Fast, that makes me smile.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now you don't have to worry so much about getting those fighters good to go. I did also see pro rings in the armor shop there. Unfortunately, my eyes deceived me a little bit. I wasn't sure if it was a plus or a minus on that pro ring. I think it was a plus.
I think it was a plus as well.
Okay. So +4, pretty darn good then.
Oh, yeah. Taking a quick look again at the flags, we have vanilla trap tiles that are not shuffled, so they might be... Good thing is they'll know where they can get their levels, so that should be helpful to these runners.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so Garland gets Quad X'd into Oblivion on Greg-Puff's side, and it takes all of 5 seconds.
We hardly knew you.
Yeah. All right, and so our items are the canal and the bottle. So a little bit of mobility there.
50-50.
Yeah.
Something useful later on, maybe.
Yeah, the fairy's just going to have to chill out in the bottle for a while. And Gregley doing us a solid and showing the bonuses and malices for most of the crew. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty interesting set of bonuses. It is worth noting that spellcasting bonuses were turned off on this seed, so you weren't going to have a chance of a fighter or a thief or ninja being able to just spellcast everything into Oblivion. Your fighters, your melees are your melees, and your casters are your casters.
Yep.
Just like the programmers originally intended.
Gotta love that iron armor +4 too for the fighter. It's pretty cheap, and that's some decent armor right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a good one to start out with. Mm-hmm. So it definitely makes things a little bit easier when you're roaming around the wilds of the world. Another thing that's also worth mentioning, and just briefly, is the black belt crit rate was not halved this seed, so a good grind will be good to get that black belt going and just punch everything into Oblivion eventually.
Yeah, I guess Iron Chuck's there, +5. Now, you normally don't want to equip the black belt with anything, but until they get up into the, high teens, early 20s, and they're doing any kind of damage with their punches, that's a pretty good weapon for them to be swinging right there.
Right, absolutely. Oh, looks like level 2 is home to some really fun magic on Deadpulse's side. Heal 3 and Invis 2 for the White Mage, and the Almighty Nuke and Temper, I believe, for the Black Mage.
Gregory Puff as well, real quick, showing us that hint givers are turned on, as the hint giver in Corneria tells us that Nerrick has the key.
Well, there you go. You get that TNT, you unlock the world, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Deadpulse gets the vanilla ship from Vicky, so the waters are now open to, at least to him, and will probably be open to Gregory Puff soon enough as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything particularly fascinating in the Provoca armor shop, but well, say what be.
Very expensive silver bracelets, which, whatever.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And Gregory Puff conquers the bridge boss at 4 minutes, so GG Gregory.
Yeah. That always feels pretty good to knock that out before 5 minutes, gotta say.
True. All right, so let's see what awaits us as we get into Elfland. See if there's anything particularly good on the magic front. Not really in terms of black magic. Oh, Cure 4 on white magic, so you've got most all of the spells that you want in terms of white and black magic in those first 3 levels, which has to make Deadpulse feel really good right now.
Let's see, Wall and Ruse level 4 also, which is pretty good.
And Lock 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, magic was pretty kind right here, gotta admit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that'll make the world turn a little bit faster, I think, for our runners. So I'm sure they're pretty happy. Folks in the audience who maybe wanted a little more chaos, perhaps might not be such big fans, but hey. The Tri-State, to some degree, might be chaos enough, depending on how well or poorly that works out.
Yep, that is correct. It looks like Deadpulse is going to follow this canal and not do a pit stop at Marsh Cave. What do you think about that?
I mean, I can understand it. It's considering that the possibility you've got all these areas that are Tri-State incentivized. It might be, I mean, you could potentially lay a save down at, say, Elfland and then run over to Marsh and see, just sort of save scum that way. But it looks like, I'd be curious to see what Deadpulse does want to do. It looks like he is heading south, so might be,
Crescent Lake check, maybe?
I would assume so, yeah.
It's a pretty key item, so, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he had kept going south, I would have been a little more curious as to what he was going to do. But given the fact that he is now turning west, yeah, Crescent Lake is the definite play here.
Yeah, we do not have any Northern Docks or Desert Rock or Extended Open progression on. So it's just, progression's going to be here at the Crescent Lake, or it might be in Marsh Cave. So it looks like Deadpulse is pulling the 50-50 with just maybe canoe, floater, some other kind of movement item.
Right. Also, I noticed that Gregory checked the hint giver in Provoca and unveiled another aspect of today's flags, is that half the hint givers that are turned on are duds. Womp womp. And that includes, by the way, hint givers being turned on not just in the villages, but also in dungeons as well.
Yeah, so we might see a few runners up. There you go, there's the canoe.
Yep. Speaking of mobility.
Mm-hmm. That opens up quite a bit more.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is why Deadpulse is the Duckling Supreme, because I would have went to Marsh Cave and gambled on that. Smart.
I likely would have too, considering that we had just been in Elfland. So, yeah, again, like you said, that's why Deadpulse is the champion, and we're here in the comms booth.
Yeah, just trying to take it all in and learn along the way.
Absolutely.
Ooh, Hydras with Lightning 3, that's kind of gross on the river system.
Yeah, I can't say that would exactly be my idea of a good morning. Although it would certainly serve to wake you up, I suppose, if you didn't just straight out die from it.
Oof, and they're unrunnable too. Oh, and glare. Fun.
Well, meanwhile, Gregley has gone and done the same thing, so great minds think alike, I suppose. They're maybe about a minute off of each other.
Yeah, and that shows you the fortitude of these two champions, really kind of on the same wavelength of where to go and what to do.
Chat pointing out save south of Elfland at the South Dock, and if Crescent doesn't work out, then you reset back to Elfland and go to Marsh. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I admit that encounter manipulation and the manipulation, well, not really manipulation of saves, but using saves as that sort of a placeholder is something that I'm still working on as a runner. So it's good to see the best doing very well at that sort of thing. All right, I noticed. Yeah, a white shirt coming out of the armory, opal something or other. Couldn't quite catch what it was.
And there's the vanilla Grey Worm house. So I gotta wonder here, maybe, the Agamas are going to be down there just above the carry floor. I mean, you're going to go for it now, kind of early on, or you're going to maybe work your way over to Ice Cave, maybe check something else out, or you're just going to try to get some levels here with that early nuke?
I would say, since you have that early of a nuke, I would say at least grab a handful of levels and then do a more sustained dive, because I'm pretty sure the runners have at least one house. So go ahead, spend the nukes and get at least a couple of levels, get up to around 10 or so, and then perhaps do a more concerted dive from that point. It certainly helps that the Grey Worms are quite Xable, so kudos to that too.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like Deadpulse used one of those houses and is going to go ahead and take fights just on the way. So it looks like Deadpulse may be doing a bit more of a walking grind. Or perhaps not, because he then proceeded to turn around and use the other house. So
yeah. Let's see what he's thinking. I'm curious here. He's got that level 2 heal 3, so you're not going to have to worry about taking time spamming heal pods to get down off these damaged houses. We'll see what he does here.
Right. Uh-oh, looks like he's having kind of a rough time with this group, though. The Black Belt and the Black Mage are about on their... Well, and now the White Mage is on its knees, so... Oh, bad run luck, but is able to get away, so...
Okay.
Congrats on that.
Right. Looks like both runners taking the same idea here. You're going to go down to the Agama floor, and maybe this is level time, maybe this is just exploration. Let's see.
Oh, well, there's a katana for your non-existent thief.
Vendor sword.
Yeah, essentially. Just go ahead and pawn that baby. Yeah, Sunflash Rune noting that Deadpulse is essentially avoiding a fair number of the treasure chests on the way. Looks like Gregley is doing a more invested treasure dive of the Agama floor to see if there's anything good.
Alright, let's see how these Agamas rolled. They're not quad Xable, so that's not so great.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And Deadpulse deciding, they were not too far from being quad Xable, I suppose.
So maybe around 350, 370 HP, give or take.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah. Certainly punchable once you get to that point.
Right. And also, oof, seeing an unrunnable red dragon's got to hurt a little bit.
Yeah. That early armor, though, paying off on that knight, absorbing that hit right there, pretty good. Oh,
yeah.
They have like no HP though.
Yeah. And the first of our possibly incentivized items was incentivized.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Gregley is going ahead and investing a little bit of extra time in those Agamas.
I would have taken either the Agama a little bit here or the Red Dragon. I mean, that Red Dragon had less than 200 HP, I think, so.
Right. The chat asking what the Quad X spell is in later versions of FF1. Hey, honestly, I'm not certain. It's been quite some time since I played any version of any version of Final Fantasy other than the randomizer. So yeah, I'm afraid my memory fails me on that front.
Yeah, I would guess you'd probably equate it to like a death spell, since it's a power word. It essentially is an instant kill. So I mean, death would be a good one, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Deadpulse is taking on Carrie, tossed out a nuke and white shirt, so obviously focusing on a little bit of damage and a bit of avoidance, just in case Carrie decides to be nice and punchy.
Yeah. Only 4 hits, 40 damage, though, from that knight, or that fighter, so.
Yeah. And then the fighter got darkness, so ouch.
Yeah. Gregory Puff doing a little shuffling of his party. I wonder if he's going to sit on this Red Dragon for a little bit.
That's a good question. I mean, the Black Mage went ahead and went down. Yeah, it looks like he is going to go ahead and do a bit of not to say mostly a black belt grind here.
Dead, still swinging away, throwing out. He's hanging on to that last Quad X. He probably wants to get a little bit more damage on this carry before he throws that out. Ooh, that's not good though. Hold on the fighter.
Yeah, that's not going to help the damage dealing efforts. Oh boy.
Oh, but he's got a Cure 4. Can he get it off? Yes, he can.
Nice. And as the screen shows, Cure 4 has that added effect when used in battle. Not only does it cure HP, but it also cures status too. And Deadpulse uses that to take down Carrie for our first orb.
16 minutes in, lights his first orb. That feels pretty good.
Yeah. Definitely would feel good if I were in his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Gregley is continuing to take that red D grind and is getting, I presume, pretty good experience off of it. I've been focusing more on Deadpulse's carry fight.
I think he's level 14 on both the fighter and the black belt, so he's grabbing them levels pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's definitely good to just go ahead and get those. Yeah, all right, I see the numbers popping up there. So, yeah, that's good to go ahead and get that taken care of, and you don't necessarily need, I would say, quite as many levels on the spellcasters because they'll get their magic charges fairly quickly.
Yeah, especially with Fast and Temper, Nuke, Cure 4, Heal 3, all rolling in the first 3 levels. You don't got to worry about getting them into the mid to high 20s.
Right.
So I'm curious how long Greg is going to sit on this right here. He's looking probably to, at some point, get this down to a solo black belt, the way he's moving around this party.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, of course, right now, his 2 are at level 17. So, and it looks like the black belt is now able to just go ahead and punch the red D out. So, good news on that front. And yes, I'm trying to avoid using Into Oblivion, which I apparently use a little more than I thought.
I never noticed.
Yeah, well, hey, it's just one of those things that slips into common, I guess, colloquial speech for some people, and then it will, it can be the sort of thing that you don't notice yourself, but then other people will go, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
You know, y'all say y'all a bunch? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but that's one of my least favorite things in the world to see. You come from the south, you park at the bottom dock, you go in, you see the elf prince, and he gives you the crystal. And now you're like, well, great. Now I gotta sail all the way back around to Matoya from the outside.
Yeah, congratulations. It's a world tour upcoming with Carnival Cruise Lines.
Yeah, rehashing the 2019 spring tournament theme of Sail the High Seas.
Yeah. Yes, your suspicion that you were saving time was very contrary to reality.
Alright, so it looks like Greg is going to definitely settle in here and maybe take this black belt up to 32. He's already at 20 on both the fighter and the black belt. So let's see how this strategy kind of works out versus Deadpulse's strategy of just keep going.
Right. It looks like... Okay, yeah, it looks like he is invested in definitely the black belt now. I think he was trying to keep both of them up for a little bit. Now he's focusing more on preserving the black belt. Like you said, for that 32 grind.
Yeah, he's already got almost 600 HP on this fighter too, so the fighter will be the meat shield with the armor, and the black belt will do the damage once we get to the Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, the Red D doesn't seem to have gotten the message about, hey, my fighter is offered up to the altar of black beltiness. Meanwhile, Deadpulse is in Marsh to see if the Marsh tri-state ends up trying or stating, I suppose.
So I'm curious about something. Since we saw that Volcano, since it was tri-stated, is now incentivized, do you think that's going to mean that all Fiend dungeons are incentivized, or is it going to vary from dungeon to dungeon?
I would say it's going to vary, simply because there are 8 locations that are tri-stated. So I don't see all the Fiend dungeons working out to have something, although the fact that Deadpulse discovered a very valuable and completely and utterly worth it pure potion in Marsh Cave. that lends the impetus to the fact that the Fiend dungeons might be a bit more incentivized, but
yeah, maybe the Fiend dungeons are incentivized and the incentivized dungeons are not incentivized tonight. The pure potion of destiny was not something you wanted to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. There's chat pointing out, though, that Deadpulse had planned accordingly, had saved in Elfland, and whenever he found that Marsh was a dud, he got the heck out of Dodge and was able to respawn at Elfland. So, yeah, definitely veteran move on his part.
Yep. I sometimes find myself doing that, like if I have to walk the volcano and do a walk of shame up there, kind of saving down when I either park at the dock or by where you park the airship, and then if there's nothing, resetting back as fast as I can, but doesn't always work out, but it's a good play.
Right. Deadpulse pulls the adamant from the crystal turn-in, so time to go have another visit. Well, maybe a visit, because Gregglypuff went to visit the dwarves, but Deadpulse did not. So time to go visit the Hooray Dwarf and hopefully not utterly destroy it.
Yeah. Having the canoe and being able to park in the river system will save a few steps here as well, so pretty good.
Yeah, that certainly helps. It looks like Gregglypuff's plan to try to get the fighter dead is really not working out here.
You almost want to maybe just walk and take an off encounter with the Agama on the other tile there and see if maybe that punches and does the same thing, because Taking out this RD really, really fast is not doing you any good for spreading out that XP onto the black belt.
Yeah. Well, chat pointing out he's been healing the fighter, but I think he gave up on the fighter death. That's fair. Yeah, and I do see him healing the fighter now, so... I kind of figured it was just from earlier input, but whenever he started letting the fighter HP slip down, I thought maybe he was switching over to the full BB grind, but...
That's what probably trying to keep that fighter up. Yeah, just carry. There you go.
Yeah. So, that's what you guys are here for, to correct me when I look stupid. Which, let's face it, is most of the time. Meanwhile, Gregley takes down Carrie in one punch, and DeadPulse picks up a floater, so... Oh boy.
Right. See where Greg goes here. Is he going to turn north and go to ice? No, he's going to go south.
So, likely going to make the same steps that DeadPulse did.
Yeah, he's going to follow that herb and probably get his crystal, and then we'll see if he decides to go to Marsh or not. Because if he decides to just head on up to Matoya...
Well, he's kind of putting himself in a slight bit, well, not particularly a bind, but the way he's going over to Elfland, I don't think he would head to Marsh, because that is going to be a super long walk if it turns out to dud, which we know it does. He doesn't yet.
And his ship is all the way over there at Crescent Lake, so he's either going to go back to the ship or take a really long walk along the inner sea right here.
Yeah. And no, I don't think Gregley knows about the Hydras. I don't recall him having run into them, but I could be wrong.
I don't think he did either. Alright, so about 25 minutes in here, DeadPulse about to get in the air. Gregley up with the level advantage.
Okay, chat pointing out he did indeed kill one of them, so maybe he didn't see all the nastiness from it, just killed it before it could light him up, so to speak. And DeadPulse picks up the TNT from Sarda, and we know that that TNT turns into the key, so...
That will open up another incentive location of Corneria locked, and I don't know about you, Ron, but once I get that early bottle and then I end up picking up the airship and floater not long after, I'm inclined to check that bottle pretty quick as well.
Yeah, what I would generally try to do, at least ideally, is I like to do the bottle and slab checks at the same time, because they're obviously close to each other, so that helps.
I agree with that. I like to kind of single dip that confident if I can help it. But we'll see. I mean, he's got a few checks to do before he heads up to that bottle with the TNT right here, which is going to be our key, and then Corneria locked.
Yeah. So, looks like Gregley's proven me wrong. He went ahead and headed over to Marsh.
Yeah, Gregley's going to take the long walk right here.
And find out soon that it is the Walk of Shame.
Yep. Looked like a free Thor hammer and a free Sun Sword +1 right there for DeadPulse in the Dwarven Armory. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's definitely good to see. Especially since you got it for the low price of nothing at all. Not even having to fight any monsters for it.
Right.
And then gives his obeisance to the Hooray Dwarf, so DeadPulse, I salute you for your generosity.
Agreed, me too.
All right. I think we're about to say the same thing. Let's see what Corneria locked is.
Yep, and are we going to see reset strats here out of Greg? Let's find out. Yep. All right.
So, chat asking, what are the pluses and minuses on the equipment? This is what we call blurst equipment, blessed and cursed. It can be, in this flag, I believe the equipment is potentially can go as far down as a -2 and as far up as a +5. And that affects that affects the stats that the equipment has, and I admit I don't know precisely which stats it affects for which type of weapon, because my brain ain't quite that big. But it definitely affects those equipment items, and it makes some of them very, very good, and some of them very, very not.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the crown turned into the ruby, so the fetch quest chains continue.
Mm-hmm.
Good news is the ruby will be a very quick turn in, as will the adamant once Gregley walks over to the dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling he's going to feel a little bad, though, when that adamant becomes the floater, and then he got to walk all the way back to turn that in.
Yeah, any kind of time he was gaining on those early levels are not very fast, but slowly ticking away here while he walks as Deadpulse flies.
Right. And Gregley Puff. There you go. Gregley Puff renders his own obeisance, so good job. We have two very classy runners today, so I salute you both.
Oh, nice. Gold bracelets +4 there, Gaia. You love to see it.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely good. Those mages are going to have a great deal of fun with that.
So I don't believe we've seen our vendor item yet, and we've checked everywhere but Caravan and On-Rack. So
right,
something has somewhere location B.
And you were mentioning that just as Caleb was talking about that in chat. So great mind. Good job, y'all.
Hey, GG's, Caleb.
All right, so Gregley is in the air at about 30 minutes, and we have a vendor item in the caravan, so there's your Oxyale.
Yep, I'd be doing the exact same thing right here. I would dip down and go right on over to the Sea Shrine and Waterfall.
Oh, absolutely. And you're in the area, so why not?
Mm-hmm. Good proximity routing here by Deadpulse.
Yep.
Ooh, there's the lightning tree again from those Hydras. They're just nasty.
So he is instead going to take the overland route to On-Rack.
Looks like Greg is going to head on over and check Grandpa. Deadpulse going to dip his toes into the waterfall.
Into the normal waterfall. They did not have it procedurally generated this time. I always like to see the procedural generation just because the waterfall can become this really weird maze. Well, not maze exactly, but it can become, the layouts can get pretty weird under the procedural generation. It always is a little bit of a kick to see.
Yeah, I don't know about you too, but once you play with a little procedural waterfall and you walk into a vanilla waterfall, I get lost because I forget. And I'll go in the wrong direction and I'll just waste time.
Yeah, fair. So as we get to the half-hour point of this seed, we've seen Gregley Puff invest in higher levels for particularly his black belt and fighter, and we've seen Deadpulse go ahead and do a lot of these checks. So, who would you say that either of them are in the lead, or do you think their time is roughly equivalent given what's happened? How do you think things are going so far?
Considering that at 32 minutes we both have an orblet, we're both in the air, Greg has the level advantage, Deadpulse has the exploration advantage, but Deadpulse is, just a little bit farther ahead, I think, right now, but Greg is going to catch up super fast with that black belt and fighter able to do the damage they can do at those higher levels. Yeah,
so you would give a slight advantage, I suppose, to Gregley at this point?
Right now, I think Gregley has a bit of the advantage. Deadpulse is still going to have to get his levels, and it looks like Greg is going to hang with the two-man strats for the time being because he's just going to be able to punch his way through these enemies for the time being.
Right. Deadpulse picking up the rod from the waterfall robot, so he was able to make his way up there without much ado, I suppose, after saving an on-rack.
So it looks like we were a loot and a chime away from our go mode for Deadpulse. So 2 more items for him, and he'll be able to just take his levels and run fast.
Yeah.
The XP scaling is 5% per key item. Question from chat. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was actually about to look myself, so thank you.
Yep, I checked that early on to make sure. Because if you see 10% or more on that XP scaling, you'll love to take that black belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, Deadpulse's levels will be taken a little bit quicker than what Greg did. But running this 2-man strat that Greg seems like he's going to be doing right now with just a fighter and the black belt, he'll hit 32 and not have to do any more of a grind at all, I think. It just depends on when's he going to hit it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting just to see how this ultimately resolves because we have 2 really good runners doing somewhat different strategies ultimately to try to get at the same goal. Of course, that's what makes this sort of thing fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Gregory going to check the caravan, and he is soon going to find the Oxio waiting for him. The boss stats, I have it pulled up. Boss stats are, if I'm reading correctly, 100 to 200%, and HP is not separate scaled, so that's going to be the same ratio. So it, to some degree, prioritizes, having a bigger, heavier hitter like a well-souped-up black belt.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Caleb with all the great questions in chat, so
Yeah.
salute.
So like I was saying before, any kind of like exploration lead that Deadpulse had is not gone, but Greg is not very far behind him here, being in Volcano or in Waterfall Volcano again. A few moments after Deadpulse left, so he's going to hit up Sea Shrine when he's done here, and this we'll see how they get through Sea Shrine and what their times are.
Yeah. I was going to say, so a non-procedural waterfall is mixing you up so much that you're calling it into a completely different dungeon.
Yeah, I'm just trying to mix things up and make my brain hurt a little bit.
Yeah, hey, just keep those neurons firing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so see, Deadpulse is going through the beginnings of Sea Shrine and is going ahead and checking boxes just in case any of these pseudo tri-state incentivized locations don't work out. So
I think you'd like to maybe get a little bit better gear here for looking for a ribbon, of course, is always good to have.
yeah. Unfortunately for Deadpulse, a lot of this treasure checking that he's doing just isn't really working out too much. Which,
yeah,
I mean, it's the sort of thing you can't know before you do it. So, of course, no fault to him for trying. It's just not really working out for him.
Yeah, this is a really good location to check. It's free boxes, it's free steps. I mean, you can find a ribbon in here and be very happy with it, but when you're walking around and finding wood shields and pure potions, it gets a little frustrating.
Yeah, feels bad, man. Ooh. So, rip Sea Shrine.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does show that all Fiend dungeons are not necessarily incentivized the same.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, unfortunately, there goes your theory.
Yeah. I had a thought. It didn't work out.
Right. Well, I was going to say, I mean, I don't even know what I was going to say now, so never mind on that thought. While I'm busy stumbling and bumbling around my words, go follow our runners, because they are far better at this game than I could ever hope to be, and they're pretty darn good on all the assisting efforts too. So go give them a follow, and also go follow all the other folks on our Restream team, including Luffy, my co-com, and Sunflash Rune doing the tracking, keeping our heads on straight, and of course, thank you to SpeedGaming for letting us steal their channel for a little bit.
Yeah, we get a high five through the doorway there in Sea Shrine.
Yeah.
That's always fun when you're 38 minutes into a race here. You have runners doing whatever they want to do, divergence left and right, and then at some point, there they are in the same hallway together. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a tender moment, if you will. So Gregory is going to head up to Mermaid Floor and find the bad news about, well, everything. Whereas Deadpulse heads downstairs and hopefully we'll find the good news about Kraken, although we don't know what that news is yet.
I think he'll probably check the boxes on the Sharknado floor as well, and pretty good cluster right there, and only one floor off of Kraken.
Right, yeah, I'd figure so.
I'm curious what Greg does here. Is he going to keep looking at boxes, or is he going to head on out? Yeah, he's going to try to dig out a ribbon too, I think.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's understandable. It feels like the ribbon really is, at this point, about the only thing that they need.
I would say so.
Yeah, I admit I've not been keeping particular tabs on how that fighter is armored up, but that would be maybe the only other thing I could think of.
Well, on Deadpulse's side right there, we see the Dragon Armor +1, and they did pull an Aegis Shield +4, I think, out of the Dwarven Armory. So if they do want to promote, that fighter is going to have a pseudo ribbon itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that, like you said, the Aegis Shield and good Dragon Armor, that is most of what you would need for a fighter. So yeah, I think it's in pretty good position.
Caleb pointing out the defense sword would also be good. I personally love finding the defense sword or a ruse item if it's in the game. That's something I would never turn down.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Chad also pointing out that DP could choose to go night stats instead of black belt. That is certainly true.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought. I don't know. I mean, only having a Sun Sword +1, I mean, you got fast, you got tempers, and the boss stats are not crazy, so it's not a far-fetched idea at all. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah. I think the main thing that would have me kind of leaning toward a black belt strat in this one is the fact that the black belt crit rate is not halved. So it's going up real fast and is going to do real good as those levels come on.
Okay, yeah, I was curious if Greg was going to turn around for that Dragon Armor or not. He does. So Greg might be thinking about promoting at some point once he gets that black belt up to 32. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's putting a little thought into his armor arrangement, which is understandable. Meanwhile, Deadpulse is taking on Kraken, who is spitting out fire too, so not much to write home about there. That fasted fighter does not very much damage, though. Oi, oi. No bueno. Okay, that looks a bit better.
That's a little better.
Yeah, might be my eyes deceiving me, though. Which, sadly, is a thing now. Rat oldness!
Ooh, slow hits on that fighter. Gotta get fast off again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and down goes the white mage. Yikes.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we're about to have dueling Kraken fights here.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see the difference here in the levels that Greg has compared to Deadpulse. Or Brack. Brackworths too. I take it all back.
Yeah, never mind. Levels? Who needs levels?
Oh, man.
And chat's going insane.
Isn't that the way it always happens, too? You know?
Oh, I know.
Oh, that's funny.
So I got to imagine Greg feels real good right about now.
Oh, yeah. You're about to see Greg hit the afterburners here. Right? He's going right into Earth. He's going to check the Earth incentive, kill himself a lich while he's here, and try to dig out that chime and loot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we see Fate at level 7 for the White Mage, which is not exactly where you want to see it if you're carrying a White Mage. It's not the worst in the world.
No, definitely not. Better there than at level 8.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Danny pointing out in chat that Greg taking that grind, he caught up quite quick. And, Brack being the great equalizer right there on Kraken. That was pretty funny.
Oh, boy. I know. I admit I don't quite remember what the chances of Brack hitting that first turn are. I know it's not 3 and 256, but it's, I think, around 10%.
I want to say Brack on Kraken or Tia is 25% on Kraken 1 and Tia 1, but I mean, I think someone a little bit smarter than me in chat, like Caleb or Ailmark, and I see in chat, how you doing, buddy, could point that out for us.
All right, so Greg pulls the vampire, and Greg murders the vampire.
I'm guessing this is going to probably be our chime right here. Yeah, that makes sense.
Good job, good call.
Yeah, so that would put either the slab or the loot in Sky.
Or ice.
Or deals or ice. Okay, yeah, so... Okay, I guess that was not as big brain as I thought it was. Until I realized how many locations we haven't checked.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that was bigger brain than you thought. And chat pointing out that the slab is, that we did have a hint saying that the slab is in Sky Dungeon, so much obliged.
Thank you. Let's see if Greg is going to head north and check the hint giver here. Nope, just going to go kill Lich. Yep, unfortunately there is no lose here, Caleb. Just tri-state possibilities.
Meanwhile, down goes Lich. Just punch dead.
So that's 3 orbs lit for Gregglypuff. Deadpulse in Earth right here. Gonna check the boxes on the top floor. Probably still trying to dig out that ribbon. And there we go. He is rewarded. So I think that'll probably be the last, or never mind, he'll check these 2 as well, but these got to be the last few boxes that Deadpulse is going to open up here, unless he's maybe looking for a better sword for that fighter than that Sun Sword +1.
It's certainly possible. I don't know, we might have to inquire whenever commentary or whenever question time comes around.
Yeah. Because he found his ribbon, so that's big for him. We'll see kind of a difference that can make when we get into Temple of Phoenix, because Greg is done opening boxes that aren't incentivized.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, he has floored the gas pedal and is dashing.
Yeah, he's stepping on it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this blue dragon seems to be giving... Well, he was giving Greggly some fits, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And is going to go ahead and give it fits.
All right. About 350 HP on it or so, give or take?
Yeah, seems that way.
All right, maybe he's going to finish off his levels to 32 right here. Let's see, where is he right now? 18 on the Black Mage. I got to say, he's probably high 20s on those other 2.
Yeah, I would figure as much.
Oh, 30. There you go. So he's only a couple levels off. Yeah, he's going to finish it off right here.
Yeah.
We do not have a forced or patrolling Warmech. Warmech is vanilla, and Warmech is always a chance that you may or may not want to take, so it's probably a little safer than trying to look for the robot chicken overlord.
Right. It looks like Chad is advocating for the rise of our robot overlord here.
I mean, if I see it, I'd probably take the fight. You know, considering I have a 32 black belt, 32 fighter with decent armor, fast. I mean, I'd take the fight.
Oh, the black belt is definitely getting some benefit out of this.
Mm-hmm. Quite a bit of evasion on this blue dragon, though. Only 2 hits from that black belt.
Right.
But Quad X is unavoidable if you don't have more than 300 HP.
That's true. Yeah, can't get away from that one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looks like he is going ahead and taking the black belt up to 32, and then he'll probably go upstairs from there, I would expect.
Mm-hmm. Deadpulse gonna pull himself a lich right here in a moment and take care of lighting his 3rd orb. But I think right now you got to put Greg in a pretty firm grasp of the lead right now with the levels and being in Sky already.
Yeah. How much do you think that ribbon might affect that?
You know, we're going to find out. That's going to be very interesting to see when they get into Topher. The black belt's going to have some pretty good MDef. He's going to probably res up that white mage and put the ribbon on. Or not that. He doesn't have the ribbon, but the white mage has life. Punch hard and go fast, and you won't need to really worry about the ribbon. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so Deadpulse lights that 3rd orb. Gregory gets his 32s, and it's off to the races on both hands.
Mm-hmm. So let's see what we got here. Is this our looter? Or we're going to keep digging. This is the slab, actually. Never mind.
Right. Excuse me.
See if Greg checks the greed boxes. Nope, just gonna keep going. I tend to always check those 4 boxes, really, no matter what they're right by the teleporter. I mean, it's free real estate.
Yeah. All right, so as it looks like both of our runners are going to be inhabiting Sky Palace at the same time, just a quick mention. Thank you all for joining us today on Speed Gaming. Appreciate it. I hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Good grief. Tuesday, yeah! And
I think we're in Volcano. You think it's Tuesday.
Hey, there we go. All right, so it's still morning for me. It's about to be afternoon for folks on the East Coast, but I hope y'all's day is going well, and hopefully y'all's brains are working better than mine.
Gregory Puff gonna take down some fire hydrants right here. Easy XP.
Right. Oh, I was about to say, well, it looks like no robots, but an unrunnable battle. If he gets another, like a 2-step encounter set, maybe. Oh, got 1 step, but not more mech. I mean, I was sort of right.
You were close there. We got some more Brack strats coming out here.
Oh my God!
Come on! All right, I want to know the percentages on hitting first shot Bracks on Tia and Kraken. You got to be kidding me!
Oh good God! So what question are we going to lead with Gregory? That black belt grind, or how about that Brack luck?
Oh man, you love it right there. You love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Holy mackerel!
All right. So,
oh, Chad, man! Yeah, oh my goodness! I still think my favorite memory of power wording something was, and I don't remember exactly what race it was for. It was sometime last year. I don't remember what race it was for, but I don't even think it was a race. It might have been one of the weekly seeds. But I go into Topher and I do all the Tophering stuff. And I hit Chaos, and I think I power worded Chaos or bracked Chaos or something like that on my second attempt, I think. It felt so good.
Oh, God, that's nice.
All right, so Caleb letting us know that brack chances are about 27%. So yeah, about 1 in 4.
So I thought I saw DeadPulse on the greater than less than 4. Did he take a death or did he warp out or something?
I'm not sure. I did see him on that floor though, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's on the floor above now, so I don't think he did anything.
Because he was in the greater than less than room, and then I saw him walking back up the room from the bottom stairwell. I'm not sure if he took a death or if he found a way to... Oh, he reset out. Okay. Thank you, Danny.
So, yeah, that would be about 7%, because that'd be 1 in 16 to get both of them.
All right.
Go mode.
Yep, go fast burr.
Well, Gregley's been go fast burring for a bit, so...
Yep. All right, so Gregley going to just jump right into Temple of Fiends and have, I'd say, a few minutes here on DeadPulse.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about bingo there for a second. Pulling up Elmark and pointing out that Greg used the cabin. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I kind of thought so too. I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh crap, we're back in Dabland.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for folks who are watching this and maybe haven't heard about it or haven't been watching it, tune into the Winter Dab Tournament. It has been a lot of fun. And it makes for great races between some of the best runners in the community, and it has been a blast so far.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun. I kind of messed up my bingo board the other night in a race against Irongol. GG's to him, but it was still fun to play. All right, so 54 minutes and change, Gregley into Temple of Fiends, already past the loot block. DeadPulse going to take him out Tiamat and get his loot. We'll see what DeadPulse does after picking up Tiamat here. I'm not sure. I'd probably translate that slab and do that right away as well, rather than dip ice or something. How about you, Karan?
I would, yeah. I mean, since you've got the slab, go ahead and translate it because you're relatively close, and ice would be, I think, a much greater time investment at this point. So yeah, I do slab first. If it didn't pan out, then I would go into ice. But it's too much of an investment to just go for ice immediately. But yeah, go do slab first.
Yeah, we still got ordeals as well. So you got to hope DeadPulse here just translates that slab and finds his loot. Because ice and ordeals, when they're tri-stated, you want to avoid that if you can.
Right. All right, I'm going over to the schedule. Going to see if because members of chat were asking what the next dab match was, when it was going to be. So let's see if I can pull up the schedule because I believe we have some dabbing going on tonight. Actually,
We do.
So I want to make certain of that first. All right.
Oh, DeadPulse found a Warmech.
Uh-oh, it's chicken time.
This is actually be quite good for DeadPulse if he can take out a Warmech right here. This will pick up some levels pretty fast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A Warmech is always good for that if you can take him down.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, Gregley takes on Lich 2 and very quickly finishes off Lich 2. Looks like he's committing to go ahead and have his fighter on the carpet, at least for now. Chat pointing out that Greg may not have life. Does not look like he does, no.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
So there's slight advantage to DeadPulse if we get to that point. DeadPulse still fighting Warmac. Greg gonna pull carry 2. So Lich had Zap right there on the fighter.
All right, so just as a little bit of an update on the winter dabbing, we have actually 3 winter dab matches tonight. One between Demon Frog and DVS at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then 2 at 11 p.m. Eastern. One between Lord Fizzlebeef and Jay Scheidel, and the other between Dark Moon and Sonny Wrath. So definitely plenty of dabbing tonight. I don't see channels listed, but I'm sure we'll get those worked out. And so just make sure to tune in. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, we definitely love to have you there, and you can find out the schedules and get notifications when we do all of our races.
Actually, Caleb, that was my mistake. That was Rub that hit the fighter. I saw Zap come off on his Black Mage, and I got crossed up there. So single target Rub on that fighter, not Zap across the party. My bad.
All right, Gregley takes down Kraken 2 and is well on his way to going after Tia. Meanwhile, DeadPulse is still taking on Warmick, and as chat mentions, is not having a very good time of it.
Yeah, this Warmac, I can't tell if they have a whole lot of HP or there's just not enough DPS going on right here, but this is taking quite a while.
Yeah. It looks like DeadPulse may not be doing a whole lot of damage. Oh, well, then Warmac proceeds to go down, so never mind. Ooh. Meanwhile, Tia 2 takes down the White Mage, so it's gonna be punch strats from here on out. But the good news is you got a good puncher and you got Quad X to finish off Tia 2. So Gregley is almost at Chaos, is gonna hit Chaos just about at the hour mark.
Yeah. So you got fast, you got temper, you got that level 33, 34 black belt. You feel pretty good about your chances right here. You just want to get that fast cast off. Very important.
Yeah.
And he does. Beautiful.
Yep, absolutely. So punchity punch, and the Black Mage almost gets punchity punched to death.
He's even going to get a temper off. Free temper. Now that Black Mage can take a nap and punch.
Yep. Looks like Chaos is doing a grand total of not much of anything, just ink so far, and so yeah, it looks like this is going to be in the bag for Gregley Puff real soon.
Yeah. Another free temper cast here. Punch. It hits 1900 damage. GG's Gregley Puff.
And Gregley Puff finishes with a time of 1 hour 48 seconds. So GG Gregley Puff, holy cow.
Yeah, that was fast. Very, very fast.
All right, so SpeedGaming will handle any chat invites, so hopefully we'll have Gregley Puff in the booth with us shortly. We shall see.
Yeah, that strategy of taking those early levels definitely paid off for Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. It cost time in the early term, but he more than made it up in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, DeadPulse is busy taking on Tiamat, and with only 2 fighters up, the fighter and the White Mage is unfortunately having a bit of a time on this one too, it looks like.
Yeah, I think that was only about 13 damage from that Sun Sword. Yikes.
Ugh, yeah. It's one of those numbers, especially because the numbers flash by so quickly, I'm afraid I'm misseeing things, but sadly, in this case, I'm not misseeing things.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we are joined in chat by Gregley Puff. GG's, Gregley.
Hey, thank you guys. How's it going?
And GG's, man. That was good to watch.
Yeah, that felt like a really good run on, at least on my part. I felt like everything just like came together.
Yeah, so how about that Brack luck?
Oh my God, I know. If I could only get that kind of Bane luck during the double anti-bingo tournament, you know, so I don't have to waste 21 Bane shots on Tia. I can't believe I landed Breck the first time, both times. Crazy.
Yeah, chat was absolutely losing its mind whenever. I mean, the first time it went off, everybody was like, "Oh, look at Brack," and then whenever it went off the second time, chat just blew up.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like that just goes to show you, rando's gonna rando. You know, I'm gonna just some days you're just gonna be luckier than you are good. And I felt like today was that day. I was definitely luckier than I was good.
Yeah, with the vanilla trap tiles, we were kind of wondering what would be the strategy here. Was it going to be the Agamas? Was it going to be the Eyes? And you took the Red Dragon up to mid-20s on both your fighter and your black belt. Ran through your heal pots and then went and killed Carrie. I think you even got in the air taking that Inner Sea Grand Tour walk around to the toilet, which was kind of fun. You got in the air about 15 minutes or so after DeadPulse, but still caught up very fast with getting those levels on the two party members there. So was that your strategy, kind of just get your levels early on in the volcano and then just see what happens from there?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like. Okay, so sometimes you look over certain flags. That was one of those I didn't realize we were even going vanilla with the spike tiles until I had gotten into volcano. And I was like, one fire. We must have A sides on. And then I saw the gray worm and was like, oh, we have vanilla spike tiles on. This is going to make my play a lot different because I had a rune sword and I was already in volcano. So I was like, well, I'm going to go down here and grab a couple levels on Agamas and then kill Carrie. And the Agamas had stun touch and had just under 300 HP or something like that. So I went and checked the incentive box to see if it was actually going to have something. And then the Red Dragons had like 140 HP. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to hang out here and do a little 2-man grind and see how this goes. And basically that was the end of that. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll go ahead and mention that after taking down Tia, DeadPulse has forfeited. So GG's to DeadPulse, and hopefully he'll join us in chat, and we can get some thoughts from both of y'all. So you were mentioning earlier, Gregory, that it was kind of one of those seeds that it was better to be lucky than good. So I assume then that you had a pretty good impression of the seed all in all then?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see a whole lot through the seed. I was lucky enough to not have to dive ordeals or ice, because I knew where so the incentive box in Volcano was an incentive. I knew I needed to find 4 incentive boxes, right? So since I was down there, I knew that was that. One of the hint givers told me the slab was in Sky, so I knew the slab, that's 2. And then there was one other place that I had checked that was also incentive. And so I knew that it was just basically down to like either sea or Earth or something like that before I would check ordeals or ice. And luckily Earth Cave had that chime. So I really only had to dive like, I think, Marsh Cave and Sea Shrine for like the Womp Womp.
Yeah, I was going to say, also speaking of the hint givers, this is the first time I've seen the checkbox that half of the hint givers are dud givers.
Yeah.
Had you played with that before?
Yeah, it's on anti-double bingo or double anti-bingo. So I realized when I was leaving Provoca that I forgot to talk to the hint giver. And so I went back in and he was like, you spoony bard. And I was like, oh, thanks for that one. Oh, man. Somebody named Rafe wants to challenge me. I don't even think they're part of the Discord. Let's see here, Rafe. Who are you? Who does?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Rafe, who this?
Yeah,
I was gonna say we could always, Google and see what pops up. Although we might not want to do that on stream.
no, of course not. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the flags. It took me a second, especially with the tri-state. It's always like, how many boxes am I opening? What's loose? Is there going to be, loose versus what am I trying to say? Dud locations. It would have been pretty unlikely for 5 of those locations to be turned off. So I just went going like, I'm going to find dud locations, not so much trying to look for loose items.
Right.
But,
well, we were speculating when you guys were going through the different dungeons about how exactly the tri-stating was going to work out. And one thing that, well, for a lot of the race, and certainly, especially the early race, you and Deadpulse were maybe a minute distant from each other doing virtually the same things. So we were speculating as to whether all the elemental dungeons would tri-state, or whether, kind of how exactly it would all shake out. But yeah, it ended up being pretty interesting. And we are now joined in chat by Deadpulse. GG, Deadpulse.
GG's, man.
Oh, yeah, GG.
Oh, it was Titan's Trove that had the other incentive. I was like, I know I found 4 incentives. It was Titan's Trove that turned on. So it was Titan's Trove, Earth, Volcano, and
Sky.
Thank you.
All right, so Deadpulse, what did you think about the seed overall?
It was all right. I was hoping that there was going to be some loose items or some dud items, but we don't always get what we want.
Marsh was dud. C was dud.
Well, I'm main NPCs.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Honestly, once I saw the BB was forced, I'm like, well, I've got 2 choices: try to out BB Greggly Puff, which is probably not going to happen, or try to sneak in Topher, maybe 23, 24 with a full party. Hope I can get through it.
Yeah, I was curious that it was 2 definite different approaches, because once Greggly found the red D tile in Volcano, after picking up that item, then he just went ahead and used it to get the fighter and black belt up to the probably mid-20s, I think. Whereas you had gone ahead and continued on picking up key items and such. So if you had decided to do a grind, obviously it would have been a bit faster. But I was curious to see which strategy would end up working out in the end. So, but yeah, as far as the tri-stating stuff, I think I found that to be one of the more interesting aspects of this flag set, just my own personal examination. Deadpulse, you were saying you kind of found things all right as far as the seed went. I noticed at the end, of course, as you were trying to go up Sky, you were finding that the fighter was just not having much luck as far as trying to hit much of anything. I suppose it was a function of the way that the enemies had scaled there, or what do you think kind of contributed to that?
Well, the sun sword that I was using was actually just a cardboard sword that said sun +1. I only found that out when I started fighting Tiamat, so...
Yeah, the imitation sun sword +1 was not doing you any favors whatsoever there. You would expect it to do a little more damage on Warmech and Tia, and nah.
Yeah, well, that was unfortunate to see. Let's see. Well, Liffy, did you have any other questions for, really either of the runners, since they're both in here with us?
I think they both answered everything pretty good. I think they both ran great races. Those levels that Greg took early on kind of really helped to set him apart there at the end. That black belt was just mauling things down once he got into the Temple of Fiends. So I want to say GG's to the runner. Thank you to my co-com Karan. Thank you to Sunflash for tracking. Thank you to SpeedGaming for hosting us. And I'll toss it on over to you to finish this out.
Absolutely. Before we do the outro, though, guys, Greggly Puff, Deadpulse, did y'all have final thoughts? I'll go ahead and start with Greg.
No, I mean, obviously, thank you guys so much for putting on a show. It's such a random time in the afternoon on a random day, which is Thursday. I appreciate DeadPulse for humoring me on this morning race. It works out great for me. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. Karan, of course, Luffy for doing the comms. Who's our tracker? Sunflash? Is that right?
Sunflash, yep.
Sunflash doing the tracking, and SpeedGaming for having us on their normal channel. And yeah, I appreciate the challenge, DeadPulse. Those were, it ended up being a fun race, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I got nothing else. Join the Discord, as they say, and I guess I'll take on Caleb at some point. He wants to double anti-bingo rematch me since he, likes losing twice.
Well, you're in love with me on that.
Well, I was going to say... Sorry.
Oh, in my Irongol career, I have lost to Gregory Puff twice and Caleb once, so I'll just sit here in my corner.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll end up making it to the finals of the double anti-bingo tournament. You'll defeat me for your retribution.
That's legally binding. You heard it here.
That's what
DeadPulse versus Gregley, the Revengeance.
No, this was great. Thanks, Greg. It's always fun to race you, as well as thank you to all the staff on here. I know that we were kind of whipping around. Well, at least I was right away quick getting those key items. So thanks again. And Greg, I will see you, in the future when eventually I'll beat you.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll beat me at some point. I have, like I said, it's better to be lucky than good. I did not expect to win this race.
All right. Well, thank you both for giving us a great show today. As mentioned a moment ago, go ahead and go follow our runners, please, because they very much deserve it. They put on a good show for you today, and they put on good shows all the time. So go follow them. They're great. Also, thank you to all the rest of us in the comm booth, to Luffy for putting up with me thinking that it was Tuesday, and Sunflash for putting up with me being an idiot in terms of just letting my brain spill out. Thank you to SpeedGaming for putting up with us invading them for about an hour and a half. And thank you to all of you for being here and engage in, watching us and helping make this a good show, especially when my brain decided not to work. So you guys are great. Everybody's fantastic. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Thursdays. Keep in mind, we have plenty of Winter Dab action going on later tonight. We've got 3 matches this evening, so holy mackerel. So make sure, if you're not a member of the Discord already, please join the Discord. It's a great place. We'd love to have you. And you can find out about all those races going on. So we appreciate it. Have a great one. And hopefully we will see y'all around.